All right, everybody, it's Adam here with another Live at 9:45, the first one of 2019 and the first one after making a ton of changes. As you can see, the mic is right there. Excuse my cell phone. I apologize, guys. It has been a hectic 24 hours for me. I literally just made a store run in the last 20 minutes before going live, so I hope that I have the right settings selected and I have everything up to par and where it needs to be. I'm trying to monitor what's going on over here on the computer, as well as run the show right now from the computer and my phone, because there are a bunch of topics that I wanted to talk about. Much cleaner using OBS. Yes, I'm using OBS, Nomad RC. And thank you all for tuning in, guys. I'm following along as your conversation is going. So feel free to ask questions. I am more than happy to answer them. Have no more thumbs up or thumbs down. Apparently not. So already liking this. Thank you. I appreciate it. So can I see you? Well, I mean, no, I can't see you, but you can see me. So that's good. Video and audio seem great. Guys, thank you for all the awesome input. I genuinely appreciate it. There's still more improvements to come, but I have had like a week of learning how to operate this software, try to get some decent audio and make things happen. If you see me looking over that way, literally my computer is right there. So you'll see a little more of that now that I'm managing more stuff. So let me give you a little backstory into what's going on here and why we've moved from Facebook to YouTube. So I actually made myself a nice list of things to talk about on my cell phone as I was putting my son to bed tonight. And so let's first talk about what is Live at 9:45. Most of you that are here know what Live at 9:45 is, but some people are inevitably not going to have a clue what's going on with Live at 9:45 or why they should be tuning in. So Live at 9:45 started like this. I was watching Facebook stuff, as I always do, and the Ohio Scale Gurus were holding Christmas drawings last December. So not like 2018, but December of 2017, they were holding some Christmas drawings for a bunch of giveaways. And as a result of their giveaways, it was really cool to see that they had at one point brought 2 guests on screen, which I did not know at that time was even possible with Facebook. And my brain started ticking and rolling, and I was like, man, if you can put 2 people on screen, I'm wondering if I can maybe do like an interview. And so I talked to some of my friends. Ryan Kornmesser was one of the people involved in that very beginning stuff. I talked to Joe, Todd Grundish was one of my first interviews. A bunch of Ohio guys who were already doing some of that stuff, and I knew, so I could kind of like twist their arm and get them to be on the show. And then after that, I kind of just ran with it, and I asked people to be on, and I was super surprised to see the amount of people who came on, because I didn't know that people would come on, watch, or do any of that. I wouldn't have known that that was going to take off, and I was really happy to see that happen. I see a bunch of past show people who were on, past guests. I'm seeing Built for Battle RC, that's Haas Pickett. I see Joe Garlack, who was in here, and he's doing some crazy scale styrene stuff. I'm seeing Wes Braswell, who's in here. And so also a lot of other names that I know, guys, and I appreciate you for tuning in. So let's talk a little bit more about what happened. So it was super exciting to put the message out there to some bigger people, like Josh Theed from Harley Designs, Scale Builders Guild, the GCM guys. I mean, I have a big list of people who stepped up and were willing to help me out with this show and be on, and I've had a blast over the last year. So this year I'm coming back stronger than ever. I literally have a calendar that I am marking down people in, and I'll tell you who I currently have and who I've been in talks with and let you know what's going on from there. Sorry, reading some comments real quick. Okay, so some people try to get into every episode. Snowmod RC, I thank you for your comment. Guys, while you're in there, you can just like bust out a bunch of comments. If you have questions, I can see, instead of just seeing 3 comments like I could on Facebook, I can see 15 or 20, so it's a little bit easier for me to get there and see what's going on. So here's why I switched to YouTube. So aside from all these beautiful aesthetics that you're seeing all around me here, which I don't know, maybe it's overdone, maybe it's not. I'll show you the other screens that I'm going to use here in a minute. But I was having problem after problem on Facebook. And when I say problem after problem, I mean like legitimately I could not track down any of the problems I was having, and I couldn't solve them, which didn't seem fair to my guests. It didn't seem fair to my viewers, and so I made an investment and went this direction. It required some upgrading of some gear and learning an entire new program, but it was definitely worth it. I need to make a calendar of past participants. All past participants are welcome to hit me up. I had sent a message to most of you guys, if not all of you guys. If you see this now, if you were on the show in the past, for sure you have a standing invite. Just let me know when works good for you. I'm literally scheduling the entire year of 2019. So that's why the calendar's here. I will schedule out as far ahead as people want to schedule out, and my goal is to fill every week. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but let's talk about what my Facebook problems were. So audio was a massive problem. I bought microphones. I did a bunch of things to try and improve some audio, and I never quite made it to where I liked the audio. This should be an improvement in audio, but guys, this mic was very budget, but there are so many other things I can do to it to go from there. Oh, I mean, an actual calendar of pics of their stuff. Ooh, Wes, that's a great idea. I don't know if I'll get that for last year, maybe this year's guests. So Wes typed get an actual calendar made of past guests for their stuff on the calendar, and so it would work kind of like this. This has four images on it, and so 4 images for each month, 4 guests per month, and that's a great idea if anybody would be interested in that. If you'd be interested in that, go with that. So I'm gonna answer another question as I'm reading them here. This method of seeing the comments is so much easier to follow, let me tell you. I could only see 3 at a time, and now I can see a whole list of them. It makes it very manageable. So what mic did I go with? I just went with the Yeti Snowball Ice. It's a little like a sphere. It looks kind of funky, but it was cheap, like $50 cheap, which is pretty cheap if you're looking at mics. You've got anything $50 and under, and then like you jump up to the $100 to $150 range for like the next level of audio. And I'm not an audiophile of any kind, so I can't tell massive improvements. So I chose to go cheap, and I will work on my end to make it a little better. I did a few things inside of the software I'm using right now, but I'm going to send it out through another software and back in once I learn how to do that. I just ran out of time. So Facebook, if you guys were following, you know I had audio problems I couldn't fix. I had dropped feeds that had seemingly nothing to do with myself or my guest. And additionally, the last thing that really drew the straw for me was when I was unable to add the guys from Redcat into my feed to even ask them the questions. It was, I mean, infuriating. I had to run the show from my keyboard and hope that people would stay tuned in, and hope the guys with Redcat would play ball and be supportive and help me out there. And they did, and they were amazing, and I appreciate it for sure. Comments are rattling off. Give me a second to slide through some of those. Okay, so a link to YouTube is bad, but signing in directly to YouTube is great. So if you're not already signed in directly to YouTube, I highly recommend you go that way to go over there. Budget condenser mic is better than a phone mic. That is true, Off-Road Dave, but I had other mics that were halfway decent, but I couldn't get anything because I didn't have any adjustment. So this mic's got a bunch of different adjustment going on. Snowball mic for streamers, easy for the price. Okay, I'm behind on the comments. I'm gonna do some talking, and then maybe I'll scroll back through and see what I can do. So basically what happened was this: I could start the feed, and if I was lucky enough to add my guest and their audio worked, then I was out of control. I didn't have any control after that. now I have control over every single aspect of what's going on. And so to give you an example, let me show you what I'm talking about. So right now you are viewing the slide of just me talking. So this slide will be used like, you'll see that intro screen where it had the countdown timer, then this slide will come in. And so then next, I have an option to go with a guest. It has a hole in it because the guest currently isn't on. I don't have their video file. I should have stuck a picture in there, but like I said, I just made a last minute store run right before the feed started, and I didn't have time to do so. So when you watch the show and both people are talking, you're going to see primarily what you see right now, which is me over here, yeah, on the left, whatever, and the guest on the right. And so their face, their video feed will be in there. The comments will tick. You'll be able to see them and see what's going on, and see the chat rattle off, which is a better option as well for what you guys have going on there. And so comment if you like the chat on the screen, let me know. If you don't like the chat on the screen, also feel free to let me know. I like it because I can see it easier. I also I genuinely needed something to take up the space because the way the framing of the videos were, it wouldn't have been that awesome. So the other thing that's going to be cool is I can always just transition out and cut to my guest, which you're going to lose my video feed, but you're going to get an idea of what I'm talking about. So I can always just transition out and talk to my guests. So when they're doing show and tell, or they're doing something where they're actually showing you what's going on, I can transition out there and allow them to do that and you to get a good look of it. So before, again, I just didn't have control over things like that. Sorry, I'm bringing my chat back up so I can follow along with what's going on. And the nice part about it is it's going to allow me to have some mobility and to interact more with you guys and interact more with the person who is on the show. So without the chat, it's boring. I agree completely, Wes. I love the chat. I thought it was 100% necessary to bring that in. It's one of the things that I liked about the show, being one of the people running it. I would follow down through the chat, check out what's going on, and then I also would use it to kind of gauge questions, and if you guys threw them out there, I'd try to answer them or get the guest to answer them as well. So I see a lot of really positive comments. I thank you guys. It makes it, the last week of staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning, feel pretty worth it. Okay. So anyway, let's see here. Let me get back to my notes to talk about what's going on. So really what's going on is now I'm using YouTube so that I have control of what happens. If something messes up, it's probably my fault and I will have to learn how to and try to fix it. But in the end, I'm going to fix it. Where with Facebook, I couldn't fix it. So one of the other reasons that's nice is now it's connected to my YouTube where I was dumping other videos, and also it will create a nice place to catalog it for later viewing. So if you guys miss one, you'll have an easy spot to go back to where you can view it and see exactly what's going on. All right, so how does it all work together and what the heck am I doing here? So I'm using Open Broadcast Studio. It is a free online source for you. It's not full of viruses. It's not full of all kinds of crazy stuff. 100% free. You all could do this as well, but it's a lot. It gets technical. I've watched a lot of YouTube and done a lot of learning. The other thing that I'm doing is utilizing Skype. So all of my guests will now have to download and have Skype and be able to use it either on, you know, a smartphone, or if they have better audio and video equipment, we can get better audio and video feeds from their side as well, because there are other people in this hobby who really spend time doing a lot of that. So a lot of the people who have YouTube channels already have some kind of setup, cameras, whatever that they're using, and it will allow them to use that with Skype and allow that to happen. So if you see like a little Skype symbol, sometimes that's what's going on. Okay, so to answer the ad question, once the live video is over, it turns into a normal video and gains views. I can turn into revenue. I missed the ad question. So one of the other reasons for YouTube is exactly what Dixieland RC is talking about. eventually, if you end up with enough viewers, enough subscribers, over 1,000, and enough watch time, which is a pretty good sized number, big chunk of change, then YouTube will start monetizing your videos. They'll place ads inside of them, and the ads that go inside of there won't take place during the live feed. They take place on reviews, and it could possibly allow for some money to come back to me to kind of help pay for all of this stuff that I've done to upgrade and to maintain what's going on. Literally, though, it's probably going to be like $10. So I'd have to get incredibly large to actually make any money at this. I don't know that I will or will not. It was never about that. It was about talking to cool people. So like it much better in this Facebook Live. That's cool. Loving this. Seeing lots of good stuff. 4,000 hours in a year. 1,000 subscribers. I got people texting me as well. That's awesome. So anyway, thank you guys all for the positive support. I genuinely appreciate it. But there are some cons. So there are a lot of pros with this. It should make for a much better experience, but there are a couple of cons. So number one is the possibility of losing viewership with the move from Facebook over to YouTube. I am fairly confident that a lot of you are going to follow, but I might lose some people. And if that's the case, then it's a bummer. I valued each and every person who was watching the show. And I think that this just gives a much better experience, and I hope that people will see the value that's in it, and continue to follow along and pay attention to what's going on. Another con is that our guests will no longer be able to see the live comments unless they are watching, specifically during on another device. So on the Skype call, they won't see anything. So it is a bummer for them, and but at the same point, to get all of the other things that we got, it is one of the pros that we can have, and I think there's a workaround to make it happen, and we'll see from there. Minimum they will send me is $100. That'd be pretty sweet, but that'll take me like a couple years. So thanks for the comment, Wes. All right, let me move on. So other cons, any error in the feed, I can no longer just blame YouTube for. So most likely, if you are experiencing errors, it was my fault. And I'm cool with taking that on because now I have control over everything else. So hopefully those will be few and far between, but I guarantee you I will make some mistakes and I will try some things that just won't work. And I'm sure that's going to happen. The other bummer is that it is honestly more work on my end. I now have to try to maintain the Facebook stuff going on, and over here on YouTube, it's some thumbnail creation, so on and so forth. So I'm going to be putting in a little more effort to make things look a little cleaner, crisper, a little nicer, in hopes that more people will follow over and we'll see what's going on. Can you feed the chat onto a desktop and use that as your Skype picture? Probably, but not right now. That would take a bunch of work, and so I don't know, Steve Martin. I would have to answer your question with a question of, do you have any advice? If so, shoot me a message, and we'll see what we can do there. Okay, so let's talk about the last part that I have, and then I will literally, sky's the limit. You can ask me a million questions under the sun. So where do I plan on taking this? And really the thing is this, the sky's the limit. Like, these are, the things you're seeing are like the bare bones. I know this much about how to use OBS, and I just started into this. I know literally, like, I don't know if you can see, like, almost nothing about how to make this mic sound any better, but I've been playing around and learning. I know it sounds better than what I was using, but it definitely could still sound better. I'll be rewatching this to see what my audio sounds like. And then overall, like, some lighting stuff. I don't know if I completely dig the background. We'll see. Maybe I can light it in a different way and I'll like it more. Just me being judgy about myself, but you should see overall improvement go from there. So on a laptop, you should be able to have Skype and YouTube open at the same time. Maybe. AJ, you should. You should be able to do both of them. Skype is not a very data consuming program as far as you running it. and YouTube tends to be. So it would depend a little bit on the quality of the components inside of your computer and what's going on. Audio is much better. Get a preamp. I can fake a preamp with the ideas that I've got going on, but I agree with you, Wes. I could make that better by doing that. Maybe over time, maybe when YouTube actually pays me money, although they probably won't. So we'll see. Watching on PC, it sounds and looks 100% on point. Crisp, clear lighting is good. Perfect, Snowmod RC. I thank you for your input, guys. Really, at this time, I have 2 more things to talk about, and then I'm just going to open it up. And if you have questions, I'll sit here and answer questions as long as you have questions for. If not, we'll go from there. So let me talk about what I have lined up for some guests. Next week, I have no one lined up. I was a little freaked out about how this was going to go, so I was reserving that. If someone is really interested and wants to jump right on that wagon and be my first guest of 2019, hit me up, shoot me a message. I'd be more than happy to consider having you on the show, or possibly bringing you on the show. I don't know. And so let's talk about who I have lined up. I have Wesley Jared Stanka. So I asked him how to pronounce his name. He said it's German. It's got to be that way. If you don't know who Wesley is, he is one of the guys behind Brazen RC, and doing a good job there. He is on the 17th of January. AJ Condon, who is the guy behind Super Shafty, is on the 24th. I have Rob Matthews on the 31st. We're going to talk a little bit about USTE and also all the other cool stuff that Rob does. On the 7th, I have someone that I haven't been following for a super long time, but man, they had one build that they put out there. It caught my eye and I loved it, so I sent a message. Coulter Michelson, I've followed him for a little bit. Seems to put out a positive message, and he has that long, like baby blue, long wheelbase Toyota with the tractor tires and those killer huge wheels. I dig it. And so then I am blacked out for Valentine's Day, but I'm going to talk a little bit about that right now. And then following that, I have a special episode that has Spider Pig Customs and Gray Birch Fabrication. So they'll kind of go hand in hand together, and hopefully I can figure out how to get 3 people on the screen at one time. It might break my brain before it happens, but I will give it a shot. So, okay, so reading some of the comments, see what's going on there. Okay, now let's talk about some blacked out dates. So last year, I was only able to operate things live. I happen to know that there will be multiple dates throughout the year that I am just not going to be able to be live on Thursday at 9:45. My goal is to pre-record. It will look like it's live. You guys will be able to comment in it like it's live, but I won't be able to comment on your comments unless I'm watching and then type comments as well as the guest. And so the goal would be to record it ahead of time, run it as a premiere, and then it would show up on live at 9:45 and show exactly what's going on. It would allow me to run the show without being there if I need to not be there. Like the 14th is Valentine's Day. My wife blacked it out on the calendar. Go figure. I also have a bunch of dates in June that I know that I'm not going to be available on Thursday. And so that whole month is pretty busy looking for me. Excuse my cough. And with that month being busy looking for me, I'm going to be looking for some other people to bring on. So I was turned down by multiple people last year because they work at that time of day. So they're working right now. Some people did it from work, which was pretty cool because they had awesome bosses and let them do it. But I was turned down by several guys just because they didn't have availability or access to be on the show. And so that opportunity will now present itself in those blacked out dates. I can record it at an earlier time, pump it up onto YouTube, and set it live at 9:45 on the date that I'm not going to be able to air the show. So my goal for this year is to have a live interview every single Thursday. But I'm going to tell you I'm going to miss that mark somewhere along the way, so bear with me, guys. But I'm shooting for every week. All right. So K&K TTC 6. I'm not going to make K&K, guys. I have, like I said, I got stuff going on in June. Plus, honestly, the K&K weekend is a hard weekend for me anyway. My kids from the high school graduate that weekend every single time. And so I wouldn't be available at all on Friday. I've got to go to the 52 big ones, huh? I don't know what that means. So I've got to go to graduation for sure. I spend 4 years with them trying to get them through high school. It's awesome to see them walk across the stage, and I would never miss that. So I'm not going to make K&K this year. Well, most likely not going to make K&K this year. And so we'll see what's up. All right. Any more questions for me? I would love to answer anything you've got going on. Bring them with me. All my high school students who are graduating from high school probably should not skip their high school graduation after the amount of time and effort that they and myself have put in. 52 weeks, 52 episodes. That is the goal, guys. 52 episodes. But I already missed that because I don't have one from wait, today is the 3rd. Hey, I could get them all. I don't know that I'll get them all. I'll miss some somewhere. But so NVU struggle to get a t-shirt design launched once a week. Having to do this once a week would be exhausting. Once you get things up and running, XSRC design, it's really not that bad. So I spend a lot of time in the foreground setting up the slides that I plan on using. I don't plan on changing the look of the show very often. If I end up with time and don't like what's going on and see a way to improve it, I may do that. Maybe a live feed with Skype via from K&K. Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility, Steve. I would have absolutely no issue doing that. I'm sure someone could swing that and make it happen. But anyway, to go back to the thing, it does get exhausting. That's why I want to try and schedule things ahead of time as far out as I can. And so the other thing that I'm running into is I'm going to need to start bringing people back on. Just the sheer volume of what's out there versus what's going on. So it'll be rewriting questions and seeing what's going on. Recommend a solid moderator for the show in here. I'll get trolls and it lets me focus on what I'm doing. I agree completely, Snowmart RC. I had a couple moderators inside of what was going on Facebook. If some of you guys who've been tuning in all the time and know what I'm about and know what's going on would like to try to moderate some stuff, that would be awesome. Another cool, just shoot me a message. We'll see what we can do. Another cool thing that is nice about YouTube is that YouTube will cut down on some of the profanity if you set it to do that. It probably won't catch it all, but it'll catch most of it, and hopefully that will be good. I think that a lot of you guys that have been following along with me and doing what we're doing know that my whole goal here is to keep things positive and supportive and really try to do the best I can by the community and by the people I have on the show in a positive way. So how are the kids at the school doing with the RC trucks? Are they getting hooked yet and possibly get their own? So I do have kids hooked. It's a struggle all the time at the school. I do have a couple of big announcements to shout out about that. Since you're on the live feed, I'll definitely let you know about those two things. But also, we were having a lot of breakage, so it shies kids away when I'm always like, guys, be careful, be careful, be careful. So I had a guy randomly step up. Out of the blue, I had made a post. Someone asked about breakage. I talked about the breakage. I'm being very open and honest with it. I really genuinely love the Red Cat Gen 7s. I think they're great for what we're doing. But we were breaking front axle shafts. Dixieland RC sent me a message out of nowhere and said, hey, I hear you were breaking front axle shafts. I'm going to send something your way. I haven't got my package yet, but I did see what was coming, and so look for that post over on the Instagram and on my Facebook page when that comes up, because it's pretty awesome. I also have a giant box over here to my left, and it is full of Cow RC goodies. So it kind of came a little bit from Cow RC and a little bit from Ryan Kornmesser, who had some stuff going on where he did some returns, or something happened where he had some opportunity to get some Cow RC products with some money that he had previously spent. I don't know how it worked, but anyway, I have literally an entire box. So pit mats for kids, Moo Clean and Moo Slick for all the trucks. We'll keep them all shiny and nice. I have a couple kids who really and honestly enjoy doing the maintenance, and it's doing a good job keeping them out of trouble when they have downtime. So I'm excited for that box because it will allow them and afford them the opportunity to do this thing that they're really enjoying, which is working on the trucks. But I do have a story for you while I have you all as a captive audience. So one of the coolest things that I've ever gotten to do at the school happened on the last day of school before Christmas break. And so if you ever remember back to when you were in high school, the last day of school before Christmas break and like the last day of school or the last day of school before any break is usually marked with some sort of activities that are still semi-educational, but at the same point not always full on school because we're trying not to teach new concepts and send you away for a week and a half. And so I had a bunch of kids in the school who didn't want to participate in things, and by nature, in the job that I have, they all kind of ended up with me. So I convinced them all to put batteries in RC trucks, and we literally left the school, went out back by the woods, and drove RC trucks, and they had an absolute blast. They run around giggling like little kids, joking, laughing. It was super fun, and it was cool to see them get to have fun. And some of those kids were kids that weren't in the club. It just happened to be the mix of kids that I had access to, and I had the trucks, and so we used them for that too. And it was a really good time. One of the coolest things I've gotten to do as far as that's concerned. Okay, so guys, I need to know if you have questions for me. I tried to answer as many questions as I could. I tried to keep true to what I originally set out to do with the show and kind of just move it over here and provide a little better opportunity for it to function and work. So fantastic. Awesome. Okay. Let me scroll up, see if I missed anything that I got going on here. Okay, so I don't see anything kind of popping through real fast. Let's talk a little bit about the couple things that I should do since I'm now on YouTube. So if you're picking up this feed and you're in here right now, I need to say this way more than just at the end of my feeds, but make sure you hit that like button and you hit the subscribe bell. That'll alert you when I go live. I also am going to try and do the feeds like I did tonight, where I set an event inside of Facebook. And so then you can mark that event if you get a notification that that event's coming, and it should alert you the moment I kick that button to go live. That should make it so that you get it and have what's going on. For the record, this is my first time watching a YouTube live video. Well, Steve Martin, I am glad I brought you over here. I've watched a bunch of live ones. I'm hoping that I'm not super pixelated. It's hard to tell from when I'm doing it. I can see myself on the computer, and I can see myself live as well, but you never really know because my computer's doing a bunch of things all at the same time. The one thing that's going to be hard for me to figure out is a lot of you guys are using like YouTube names and not just your actual names, so it's going to take me a while to pick up on who's who and see who's in there and what's going on. But as always, guys, I appreciate all of you tuning in. I would not be doing this if it wasn't for all of you. It's definitely a fun time. Plug Scale Nationals 2019. Scale Nationals are in New Mexico. Let's talk about that. Yeah. So New Mexico should be a nice place to go. I would assume that it's going to be a nice climate. I've never been there, so I wish I could go. I don't think it's going to happen for me this year, though. YouTube lets you set reminders too. That's how I remembered to get on here. Correct. XSRC Design. It does let you set reminders. So when the event thing pops up, it'll allow you to set a reminder and allow you to come in and get what's going on there. Notifications from Facebook and YouTube. I tried to keep Facebook in play and what's going on. Hi, my name's Haas. That's funny. I knew who you were. Okay. All right, so the that's hilarious, Rob. So just don't do that when you're on the live feed. Took a shower and scrubbed up and watched. YouTube name is same as RCC name, so that's cool. Do people still RCC? I don't know, guys. Reply. Passport to New Mexico. I'm pretty sure that's Mexico, @6. Hit the bell. Yes, hit the bell. Okay, so Scale Nationals is April 25th through the 29th. And I believe that I'm going to have some of those guys on, hopefully, here in the future. We had talked about some stuff. They should be on to talk about Scale Nationals and what's going on there as well. Best way to stay up to date, hit the like button, hit the bell, all that good stuff. The one other thing that I have going on that I wanted to talk about and shout out is Steve Martin does an amazing job of trying to compile all of the events that he possibly can into his website. Steve, shout out your website real quick. Like, my mind is escaping me. I had so many things that I've got going on tonight and trying to remember. I just want to make sure people can find that. He had like a pretty insane number of events going on there originally, and it would be pretty cool to kind of support that, guys. It'd be nice to have them all in one spot, and he's not making any money off of that, and he's literally doing it for the love of the hobby, and I think that's great. So I try to support the people who are supporting all of us, and it's awesome. If he doesn't put it in there, I'll put it in there somewhere. There is so much chat. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, perfect. It's in there. Love it. I think it allowed me to show or hide. There we go. I showed it. See? I told you. It definitely puts things in there for review. I can moderate myself a little bit. Cool. But anyway. The only thing I missed that Facebook had that YouTube doesn't is the likes. I know it sounds lame, but I get it. But also, if you did too many of them, it would kick our feed. Thank you, Facebook. The thing that I'm not going to miss is that after every live feed, I had like a 24-hour window where people watched it, and then it just like disappeared, went off the face of the map because everything gets swallowed up in Facebook. Here, they'll be easy to find. They're going right into Live at 9:45 Season 2, and it will be easy to get there. Headquartered in New Mexico. Would be nice to like each other's posts and things like on Facebook, but I don't see that here. Correct. So I guess former. All right, guys. Well, I am super pumped that this worked out. I'm eager to check out what my quality was like and what's recorded and how it goes. I can't imagine it's any worse than Facebook ever was, and you guys are all troopers for being in here. I genuinely appreciate it. I'm going to close out the show. I think I might even try and source a guest for next week. I haven't decided who I want it to be yet, though. Could be you. But anyway, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell so you get alerts, and watch for all of the stuff coming out, because there are going to be notifications after notifications after notifications as I try to get myself a couple weeks ahead here so that I'm not scrambling at the last minute like I was in December trying to put shows out there for all of you guys. All right. So I'm seeing some thank yous pop up, and I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. It has been great. This is the first time I've ever run one where I had to like rely on the chat and have the conversation with the chat. It's a little different than talking to a person, but talking to a person is a little more enjoyable. So hopefully next time I'll be able to do that. But anyway, I kind of am going to end this one the way I've ended all of them. Thinking of a new slogan for this year, but I have not picked one yet. So let's talk about it the way that I've always done. Like, subscribe, hit that bell. Check out my other stuff, VanOrd Customs for license plates and backdrops and all of those things. VanOrd_Customs on Instagram, VanOrd Customs on Facebook. I will put all of those links in the description now. Ooh, that's fancy. And then you'll be able to find those very easily from there. And so I thank each and every one of you for tuning in, because if it wasn't for all of you, then it would literally just be me talking to my camera in my basement all by myself. And people don't want to watch that all the time. So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. And I will catch you guys all live next week on another Live at 9:45.